Welcome to Growing Minds, the podcast that takes you into the fascinating world of child psychology. Join us as we explore the emotional, cognitive, and social development of children, helping parents, educators, and caregivers understand the factors that shape young minds. Welcome to our podcast episode on the impact of screen time on child development. Today, we'll explore how excessive use of phones, tablets, computers, and TV can influence children's attention, sleep, and social skills. Join us as we discuss strategies for parents to find a healthy balance with technology while supporting their children's growth. Let's introduce our guest, Elizabeth Roberts. She has a background in psychology and worked as a preschool teacher for several years till she retired. Over her years of teaching, she has seen the effects of the changing amount of technology on children.
Hi, Anna. I'm so glad to be here today to be able to talk about screen time.
Let's jump right in. What do you feel is the biggest risk for kids now with access to so many electronics and screens?
With all those things that you had just discussed, I believe they're actually all intertwined. Sleep deprivation, sedentary risk, attention span, and social skills all have a link to each other. I would like to start with the sedentary aspect. If you get your kids up and moving, playing face-to-face with friends and family, the energy they burn off will help them to get a better night's sleep and burn those extra calories. And they will be interacting with people face-to-face. That's building their personal social skills. If they're involved in sports or activities, that's going to help with their attention span. It's not a 3 to 5 minute TikTok, it's a full game.
That makes total sense, Liz. What are the effects of screen time before bed?
Well, in the hours before bed, if you're on your screen, it's going to disrupt your sleep by limiting the melatonin production via your blue light on your screen, which is going to stimulate your brain. High nighttime screen uses cause difficulty falling asleep, reduces sleep quality, and shortens your sleep duration. With 2 or more hours of evening screen time will drastically impede your sleep. Studies indicate that screens used in bed can increase insomnia risks by 59% and cut sleep by approximately 24 minutes, largely due to the fact that you get distracted with your phone.
Now that I've worked in a preschool for a year, I've learned that during nap time, there are some children who are used to having screens during or before bed. Those children tend to fight us falling asleep or don't sleep during nap time at all. And then there are children who don't have a screen time before or during nap time, and they tend to fall asleep and stay asleep the entire nap time. Are there dangers to being more sedentary?
Why, yes, there is. There's the obvious thing like obesity, but also your cardiovascular risk and mental health issues. Studies show that 50% of teens who have 4 hours of daily screen time can cause higher risks of depression and anxiety. Screen time over 3 to 6 hours a day drastically increases obesity risks and is often doubling the risk of metabolic syndrome compared to an active lifestyle.
According to what you have learned, what does screen time have on a child's attention span?
Attention span, yes, excessive screen time in children, typically defined as over 2 hours daily, is strongly associated with significant reduced attention span, lower academic performance, and a higher risk of ADHD-like behaviors. Key risks increased by 7.7-fold in attention problems. And they are also scoring 4 points lower on an IQ on average.
I've seen this in the classroom, especially, there are children who cannot sit down as easily and do a puzzle or color a page or sit down for story time. There are, particularly the younger children have a harder time, but there's a few of our older children, our 4-year-olds, that have a really hard time sitting and being calm because they're used to just having a screen in their face at home. And then there is some of the children that are younger that have an okay attention span. And I just think it's because they don't have a screen and their IQs are higher, so they have a better chance of just sitting and paying attention.
Excess screen time, typically 2 hours or more in a day for children, it strongly... I'm so sorry. It has strongly been associated with a 53.1% higher risk of social development, behavioral issues, and reduced language skills. Younger children with heavy screen exposure show poor social emotional skills as well, while teens with 4+ hours a day have reported higher anxiety and depression. But my favorite part, let's talk about some tips.
Some helpful tips for parents would be limiting screen time for your child or having observed screen time, so only allowing it in the car or while grocery shopping. Times where you need to be able to pay attention to what you're doing, but your child still needs to be entertained.
That's very true. You know, some other things you can implement that go along with that is having a screen-free zone. So, you know, the bedroom is a screen-free zone. That's going to take away a lot of those problems you're going to find with falling asleep and that type of stuff. You can also make, like, say, the dinner table a screen-free zone. When we're eating dinner, breakfast, we just don't have our phones out. We get to have a family time, talk. That's going to help increase their social skills.
Going back to the bedtime and having no screen zone in the bedroom would be when you go to put your child down for bed, reading them a book, and instead of having them watch a video on their tablet to calm down and go to bed, as we've learned, that doesn't necessarily calm them down so they can go to bed. It has the opposite effect and doesn't allow them to calm down and rest.
You know, I'm glad you brought up reading a book. Sometimes kids get bored and mom gets really tired of listening to them. I'm bored. So they just give them a phone or a tablet. So if you have a menu of activities, then the kids can find things to go and do, like play with Legos or color some pictures and send to grandma, things like that.
Our next episode, we're diving into something a bit heavier, yet incredibly common: childhood anxiety. If you're a parent who's seen your child frozen by what if, or a teacher watching a student struggle with a sudden, with a sudden stomach ache before a test, you know it's more than just nerves. Anxiety in kids can be a master of disguise, showing up as an irritability, perfectionism, or even total withdrawal. Next week, we're pulling back the curtain on why our kids are feeling the squeeze, how to spot those signs, and most importantly, the particular tools you can use right now to help them build emotional resilience. Let's move from managing the fear to empowering our kids to face it.